Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy business podcast in the world.
Nailed it.
Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real round dog talk. We are 2020's best small, medium, enterprise business advisory podcast in the United States. Thanks to Lux Global Excellence Awards, proudly hosted by Lux Life Magazine. I lost my place. Well, I'm so excited for my Auburn brethren to come on the podcast. Dave Williamson, comedian, pitmaster, host of the Meet Day podcast, former water polo coach.
What?
Yeah. This episode of Sweat Equity is brought to you by Grasshopper. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. What's Grasshopper, you say?
I don't know.
It's the entrepreneur's phone app. You can add a second line for your business, the side hustle. Don't use a Google Voice. You can't advertise with that number. Ooh, you didn't know that, did ya?
I did because I've heard this ad before.
Don't use your personal number for that side hustle. They can just Google your phone number and find you. Don't do that. Don't answer the phone like who dis. Get a separate line with trygrasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. Yeah.
You're so cool, man.
Dude, I sometimes it just comes to me. Trygrasshopper.com/sweat. Like Key Sweat gets you $75 off an annual plan. Are we ready to get this show started?
Yes.
Howdy, Tony.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Thanks for coming on, man. I apologize I dropped the ball a few times on scheduling you to come on here. And I'm really kicking myself because you were in Auburn, I think, last Tuesday with your, I don't know what you call it, your tour trailer.
Yeah, that works. My tour trailer. It's what it is. It's sitting behind me.
I don't know. It's like you basically, it looks like you've taken the page out of Bert Kreischer's tour, put your face on the side, but you're not. I don't know if you have to sleep in it like he was, I guess.
I definitely have been sleeping in it. That's kind of function in serving. Because when we started, this tour came together so fast, man. You know, it's like I didn't really have time to logistically, go through everything. And getting the trailer was a way to allow me to be flexible and fly by the seat of my pants. Because, I traveled pretty extensively in 2012 with my family and my wife and 2 kids. For over a year, they toured with me in a travel trailer, a lot bigger than this one. Whoa. But I just realized how flexible it made you, where if you don't know how far you're going to make it in one day, you could stop in an RV park and still have all, Wi-Fi and showers and a safe place to sleep,
How old were the kids at that point?
They were like 2 and 4 when we started that trip.
Oh
and
my God.
Talking to a madman.
And we were supposed to go just for 3 months, like moving from Miami to LA. But my wife, we got to LA and she said, I'm having fun. And I sold it to Nickelodeon as a web series. So I made, I started booking up work, going back across the country. We went across the country back 3 times, and then north to south at least once or twice too. So it was nuts. It was the best time of my life, though. We had a blast.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, seeing the country by way of doing stand-up in an RV. I did it without kids. It was me and 3 other comics, and one of the comics' wives came, and we were like, well, they're probably going to get a divorce. I don't know how she's going to deal with a rolling fart smell of 4 dudes in an RV from 1988.
Make no mistake, man. When we started that trip, I knew it was going to go one of 2 ways, and I'm just lucky that I have a cool wife. And about 2 weeks in, I realized this is going to be a good time. But I was totally prepared for it to go sideways real fast.
I thought it was my way out.
I believe I saw that you just had your anniversary, so things are going swimmingly.
Congrats.
16 years, man. It's
Wow.
crazy. And we dated for like 7 or 8 years before that. So I've been with my wife for a long time.
Did y'all date when you were at Auburn?
Yeah, I met her at Auburn. She was a lifeguard. I was the star water polo player. You know, you've heard the story 1,000 times.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Danielle Steele grocery store novels about it.
She pulled me out of the water. I got elbowed in the head.
And so, did you do stand up at all? I always want to kind of ask you about. You're the only other comedian I know that went there, so it's like R.I.P. Vic Henley. I think I never really knew him, but
Yeah.
but I find it funny because Auburn is a weird spot if you're starting to do stand up or have interest in it, because it's a fun time, but I don't think I met a Jewish person in the 4 years I was there, which, they know funny. And then like, there's no club there. It's just, you can drive to Atlanta an hour and a half, which is what I did to do open mics.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't start till after, but Auburn definitely played a part in me being interested in it, I would say. Like I felt like I really found myself as like as a man at Auburn, I guess, in a way. And I had a professor there named Jim McKelly, who was my great books professor. He pulled me aside after class one day and said, "Hey man, you're a really good writer. You should consider majoring in English." And one of my biggest regrets in life is I looked this man who just gave me a great compliment, and the man I respected, in the face, and I told him, I said I would do that, but I want to make money when I grow up. and I didn't mean it so harshly, but that's how you grow up as a kid. You're naive and you don't realize that the way you make money is you chase a passion. If you're in business, it doesn't matter how lucrative it is. You're not going to be successful if you hate what you're doing. And I did end up minoring in creative writing and just really enjoying being creative, and realized I was talented at it. And then I started writing for a school magazine, an Auburn magazine. It wasn't really a school magazine. But the thing I liked to do the most was write funny articles, So I would write articles that proved the thesis I had, but I would make them funny always. I'd find a way to have some sort of, like, I did an article on tailgating. And I wanted to prove that Auburn had the greatest tailgaters in the country and the coolest, the nicest ones. So I purposely left my wallet at home and didn't have tickets to the game. And I wanted to prove that I could get fed, drunk, and into the game by the end of the day. And I just went around meeting people and writing down like who I met along the way. And, I didn't tell them what I was doing, but I just kind of like, politely, met people and told them my situation. And it was a blast,
You were a grifter.
I was, yeah. I was a mooch. I was such a good mooch, which really prepared me for being poor as a stand-up comic for many, many years.
Still use those skills today.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't throw out your dates. You've got. Are you in Mississippi right now? Or are you on your?
Dude, man, you wouldn't believe. People are always like, "Oh, are you where so and so?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in Boston." They're like, "I thought you were just in Birmingham 2 days ago." I go, "Yeah, the driving's been aggressive."
Yeah, this is a silly route. Since you were last in Birmingham last Thursday, you went to Columbus, Ohio. Then
yeah, I'm in northern Indiana right now.
Oh, cool, neat.
And then you go to Mississippi.
And then I gotta go to Mississippi. I gotta get there by late Friday night. I'm gonna shoot content on
After
Saturday
being in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then
Trust me, I wish it had lined up better. But when I put this tour together super fast and was reaching out to people, I had to just be like, "What works for you?" And I had to just take what works for them.
Denver, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, Eagle, Colorado, Grand Junction, Colorado. At least you jammed those together. And Phoenix, Arizona, and Bakersfield, California. You gonna try to keep this thing going, or this leg's kind of donezo after July 2nd?
Well, so I hope to triumphantly ride back into Los Angeles on July 3rd, have a show somewhere in LA I'm trying to put together on July 3rd, which would be perfect because it's Saturday night and then 4th of July is the next day. So what better time to have a barbecue show for all my friends in LA and celebrate a successful tour. And then I would like to do the show that I'm doing, because the show's a little different, right? This tour, I'm doing my headline hour, which is really fun. We all haven't really able to, regularly do headline hours for over a year, obviously with the pandemic. So it's fun, like sculpting my new hour. But then I do a Q&A with whatever the pit master or restaurant owner, whoever they are at the barbecue restaurant I'm performing at. So, it's a little bit of a different show than I normally would do. And yeah, I would definitely like to do these shows in the future. I don't know if I'll do a tour like I'm doing with driving the trailer around the country, but now that I've proved the concept and realized it's fun and it's something people want to see, I could certainly fly to Florida, rent a car, and then drive to 3 or 4 cities, like you normally would do doing theater runs or something, and just do 4 barbecue restaurants in 4 different parts of Florida and then fly home,
Yeah. So I find this all interesting, the way you kind of cooked this tour together.
Oh, God.
Hey now.
Man, fucking nailed that shit.
Yeah, man, you really smoked that pun, bro.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Dad
talking
jokes.
about. We're both dads on this side, so Eric's trying to pretend like he doesn't like it, but he loves it.
I kind of love it.
But you're not doing stand up at conventional clubs or theaters or anything. It's at barbecue smokehouses, at restaurants. I saw a picture from a brewing, Avondale Brewing in Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like it was interesting. It's I love the avant-garde style of just guerrilla style, putting this together and going, all right, I'm a good stand-up comedian, and I've got this other thing that needs to kind of merge and blend together, which is your pit mastery. Is that a word?
If not, it is now. I like it.
I'm buying it.
And you're merging the two things together. I'm guessing, is there a strong barbecue nerd scene? Like,
big time.
I would say it's kind of like got to be like the brewery, like
Probably one of the cooler nerd scenes, I'd say.
Oh, and before I forget, we got to get you involved in the Tampa Pig Jig. Somehow, it's over in October. We'll do that off mic, but you should be involved in that if that is a bit, because it is a big barbecue festival here where Darius Rucker Hootie is.
Very nice.
This year.
Yeah, Law, what it is, man, is that I wanted to go tour. I've had a blast leaning into the barbecue content, especially through the pandemic. I mean, I got really into it like 5 or 6 years ago, but the pandemic really ramped things up since we were all home and I had time to sit home and cook a lot. And then touring with Bert, I've been able to merge the two also because I cook when we're touring in the tour bus a lot. So the barbecue and comedy has just like naturally come together for me over the past few years. And I have built a bit of a fan base in the barbecue community. So when I knew I was getting the vaccine and I didn't have anything on my calendar till August, but I knew I'd be vaccinated by April or May, I was like, I don't want to sit in my ass. And everyone's fighting for comedy club dates right now, and there's not enough to go around. So I was like, well, how can I go, perform for people who want to see me? And the thing that made the most sense was going to barbecue restaurants. And then that way I get to help them and uplift them and give them a successful night. And some of these are on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights. So they wouldn't have been that busy on those nights. And we're creating, an event for them to where they're selling a barbecue plate to 40 or 50 people and helping also just give them visibility because we're shooting content and posting it all along the way. So it's been a blast, man. We'll definitely, whether it's touring like this or not, we'll definitely continue to merge barbecue and comedy moving forward.
Yeah, no, I love it. And from selfishly from our perspective, we think there's a lane to have, kind of entrepreneurial business talk and comedy kind of mixed too, and a real dialogue where it doesn't really exist now. And so it kind of, I look at what you're doing as a kind of merging of two kind of genres, and it's working out. And there's definitely an audience there that is untapped probably for you right now.
Well, it happened so organically and almost accidentally just because I didn't sit down and think like, what's something that I can put on Instagram to get attention? I literally just got hell-bent on learning barbecue and got passionate about barbecue. And then once it started getting me attention, it already made sense with my act because, you know, I'm a comic who talks about being a dad, and I'm a dude, you know? So, you know, it just makes sense I don't necessarily do jokes about barbecue in my act, but when you look at me or hear my story or hear me being very, you know, truthful on stage,
That guy
I'm
knows
sure
barbecue.
picture me flipping burgers
For
like
sure.
at a barbecue, you know?
Do people come up to you like they do just in general with stand up, but are they coming up to you with like barbecue nerd? Like, hey, do you have any porcelain big green egg jokes? Like very specific.
People definitely are wondering whether I have some barbecue bits in my act, and I haven't. But a result of this tour is it's starting to seep in. I've written a few jokes, and I've been trying it out, and it's definitely finding its way into my act. I have tons of stories and funny quips and things like that just from doing my podcast, Meet Dave, and just knowing barbecue people. Like, there's certainly a lot to explore. But as far as turning it into actual material, that's still a work in progress.
And you guys say it, if you want to do it, they do an intro like we do. Meet Dave.
Yeah.
That's why you do that.
Yeah. But I listened. And so with Meet Dave, I feel like I was in the ideation phase. So I want to say thanks for sneaking me into Kreischer's show in the Tampa Theater a couple years ago. And I remember talking to you about like doing a podcast, and it was the first time I saw you, I think, or knew you were grilling outside of Bert's bus every night.
Yeah.
And I was telling Eric before he heated the mics on, I was like, I felt almost like a little kid with my dad fucking it up. You're like, here, hold this. And I was like, ugh.
Don't hold it that way.
I was like, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, like uncoordinated, like, oh shit, sorry, man. And just, but I remember talking to you that night, and you were talking about, yeah, maybe I should do a podcast about it. And I was like, dude, I was trying to get you to come to our studio. That wasn't too far away, but I think you ought to date the next day. But I was like, you should definitely do one about, I remember talking to you about a podcast about barbecuing, but it definitely didn't happen overnight like that. You got 50 episodes in the can, I think.
Yeah, just had my 50th with Malcolm Reed, that's who I'm driving down to see in Mississippi. You know, speaking of, you know, these worlds and content and whatever, he's been one of the best dudes at it. His YouTube channel's got, you know, over 1 million subscribers, and he puts out tutorials, and, you know, is just a guy who's really crushing the content game when it comes to barbecue, and has a lot of credibility, and people really respect, you know, his ability. So I'm excited on there.
Oh no, he froze.
What do you think Dave was gonna say?
He was gonna say, "You guys are crushing the podcast game. I'm just swimming in your wake."
I don't think he's coming back.
Oh, there he is. All right, now.
Sorry about that. When did I cut out?
I don't know. I was worried about riffing what you were saying.
Samesies.
Well, what I was talking about was my 50th episode of my podcast was with Malcolm Reed, the How to Barbecue Right guy.
Yeah, yes.
And that's who I'm going to see this weekend. I'm going to go down to his complex where he shoots all his content, and he's a guy who's really set the standard for barbecue content. He's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube and puts out awesome tutorials every week, and really walks the walk, doesn't just talk the talk, because he's winning barbecue competitions and stuff. So I'm excited to not just go down there and do a show and hang out, but also to learn from him in the way that he does content.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. This is good for our audience to listen to, because it's supposed to be kind of really pragmatic entrepreneurial advice. And what's interesting about it is you're a grown-ass man going out of your way to ask people, hey, can you come on my podcast? Can we do some content together? Or can I see your process and all that stuff? Being very curious. I find that interesting. Ever feel vulnerable trying to go on a limb with either the tour or trying to get some people on the podcast, or you're just like, nah, man, this is
no, 100%, man. Totally feel vulnerable, discouraged, but I think a lot of what I learned from sports, I played water polo and I coach water polo still. And I try to tell those things to the kids, these life lessons. And you got to remind yourself sometimes that, if you believe in what you're doing, then, I mean, you're going to have a lot of no's along the way. We definitely know that in the comedy world. Like, you can't stop on just a few no's or a few things that don't work out. And most often than not, man, something that's worth doing, it's going to find a way to work out. This tour, do it together so last minute and with just a lot of faith. And there's been some nights where I only have like 17 pre-sold tickets and I'm heading to a town and I go, man, I'm like embarrassed, and then I get there and we end up with 40 or 50 people and it's an awesome show. And, a couple of them, we only have had like 20 people and it's still been an awesome show,
Yeah.
So you just have to have faith, man. There hasn't been a single one of the shows so far in this tour that night I didn't look back and go, tonight was awesome. And I just need to remind myself when I'm worried about the ticket sales, and it all works out, man. Now, let's say I didn't like barbecue, let's say it was all a big sham. Let's just say I was using this just to further my career. Then if I went there and only 20 people showed up, or I didn't get like mega famous or a TV show from doing this tour, I would be really disappointed. And I'd be like, this was a waste of time. But since I'm doing it because it's something I genuinely love, and yeah, those are my goals. I want to knock it out of the park and all that other stuff. But it's a success no matter what, because it's something worth investing my time in, because it's something I give a shit about.
Yeah. Do the thing you love. You'll never work a day in your life, yada, yada, yada kind of stuff. But I think part of it's trying to
write it off.
Well,
Yada, yada.
I mean, it's just such an easy quote. It's such a simplistic quote that it's like, yeah.
Well, I haven't
okay.
heard it said that way.
I like masturbating, so I can't make a career out of it, can I? OnlyFans. But I'm saying like, I want to ask you this. Before you got into stand-up, you're from Miami, but like the least Miami guy I know from Miami.
Wow. All right.
The mustache is, you're out.
Yeah.
Out of Miami.
I think you know what I mean. You're not like, you're not the nightclub guy. You're not you're not Cuban. Or
I think you're calling me super white is what you're doing.
Well, the stash where you look like Randy Johnson doesn't.
I know I definitely don't have the Miami vibe going on these days, but to be fair, growing up in the thick of Miami, this is what my dad and my uncles and all their buddies look like going out to Hooligans Pub and drinking beer. So I probably look more old school Miami these days than current Miami.
You know what?
But
I take that back. You actually look like one of the guys interviewed in Cocaine Cowboys. Like,
right.
I look like the pilot, right?
One of the cops, obviously.
Mickey Monday, dude.
Hey, but make no mistake, man, my Miami roots run deep. Like my album, dude, I got just like your logo.
Oh, I know, man. I was like the branding.
I got the Miami branding on that, dude. And then my rub that I just came out with, I got the Miami branding on that, man. I love the Miami colors and the Miami, exotic feel. And boating and going down the Bahamas and hitting the bars and the clubs and eating good Cuban food and drinking cafe con leche.
Pina colada.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's jet fuel. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they give it to you.
I feel what you're saying. And when I went to Auburn, they all called me Miami Dave because maybe today as a 40-year-old man, I don't seem like I have a big Miami vibe. But trust me, in those college years, I showed up with a wife beater and a leopard skin shirt over it, open, and I had a
guy have had a shirt.
I had a tiger, gold-plated tiger shark necklace.
Oh fuck yeah!
With a shark tooth on it. I had some deep Miami vibes going then.
Miami Dave.
I'm getting a boner, dude. That's amazing. That's an amazing outfit. I wanted to kind of ask you. So my first exposure to you was through Bert's podcast, and I don't know how I have a terrible memory, but for stuff like this, I remember distinctly. You used to sell cars, right? You used to yeah, and I remember
my family's in the car business still to this day down in Miami.
Yeah, and I found that fascinating because I've never actually heard anybody talk about selling cars in almost a gracious kind of way, the way you were talking about it. And I remember you saying for advice, try to be friends with the sales guy. Don't try to work him. Don't try to see if you can. Don't work against him and try to get a deal that way. Don't try to argue.
It's like when a heckler at a comedy show, the heckler's like, "You're not funny. I'm funnier than you." You're not gonna win. Like the comic is seasoned. He's on stage every night. Like he's gonna get you if you give him a reason to get you. Right. And if the comic comes out and is being a dick, and the comic is picking on an audience member, then the audience member has every right to then be vocal. But when the comic's just doing his job, making jokes, and you're heckling, then the comics it's open season. So it's the same way with sales guys. We're there every day. I know about selling cars more than you know about buying cars. And the dealerships that we've built and anywhere that's got like reputable guys, they don't want to rip anybody off. They want to help the customer. They want a good exchange to where the customer's happy with the deal they got, and that the dealership's happy to have a new customer and is happy with the sale themselves, right? But when you come in and the first thing you do is you look at that salesman and go, "I'm not buying today. You can try, but I'm not buying it." Yeah, I brought my uncle with me. He's a car buying expert. He's bought lots of cars and da-da-da. And you just keep throwing that gauntlet down. There's only a matter of time before I snap and go, "Oh, you're not buying a car today? We'll see."
Yeah.
And now I go into sales mode, and now it's a challenge to try to close you today.
Well, any advice on that? Because I find that fascinating when you turn a no into a yes. Is that any story or kind of advice on that? How to do that?
Well, the golden rule in good salesmanship is just there's a couple of simple things. And the ones that I can remember from way back then are just you need to find out what the obstacles are going to be. So it's as simple as saying, "Hey, what would stop you from buying? Are you guys planning on buying a car today?" "No, not today. I'm just looking." "Well, what's stopping you from buying a car today?" "Oh, my wife needs to see it because, she's a part of the decision." Okay, now I tuck that away in my brain. And at some point, I'm going to say, "Where does your wife work?" And you're going to say, "Oh, right across the street." Well, now when we're on
let's go drive a new car.
Now when we're on the test drive, I'm going to say, "Pull in there. Let's show it to your wife." And, he's going to be like, "Oh, good idea."
Brilliant.
Well, we just overcame that obstacle. And I'm not doing it to be deceitful or tricking him or anything, but I'm just helping him overcome an obstacle that he laid down, and we just did. And now his wife sees it and she can chime in whether she likes it or not, or whatever the obstacle is, you can start getting ahead of it. If it's money down, if it's the trade-in, whatever it is, you can start working towards overcoming those obstacles that they think they have. That's just good salesmanship. It's not trickery. It's not being deceitful or a scam artist. It's just, helping set up what will make a sale happen. And, the old cliche is always selling yourself, not just the car. So, to gain the trust, you need to build a relationship with that person and make them believe you so they do feel comfortable maybe taking the leap and closing on a deal sooner rather than later.
Yeah, people buy with emotion, and credibility adds into that factor. But also, you're doing what I would say is you're just listening, which is something a lot of salespeople think they do and they don't really.
So important, man. You could talk yourself out of a sale so easy, man. You gotta say what you need to say, but then shut up and let them ask questions or let them fill in the space for sure, man. You can talk yourself out of a sale. Real people do that all the time too, when they're almost closed. Like you got to present the numbers and then just sit back and wait. Right. You can't be the first one to talk. You can let them sit there and think it out.
That's an old philosophical thing, right? Like you lay down the deal and the first one that moves loses kind of thing in that.
Yeah. Well, and for me too, and I've taken this to a lot of different walks in life, is a lot of sales guys too, one of the most important steps is asking for the sale. So when you've just gone through all the hard work to pick out the perfect car, to overcome the obstacles they thought they had, to go to the test drive, build emotion, build trust, and everything's perfect. Don't just sit there and let them be overwhelmed. You have to look them in the face, and it's polite. Look them in the face and say, "If the numbers work out, are you going to buy this car today?"
Right.
Or are you ready to take this car home? You have to ask for the sale.
It's so icky though.
I think
we're all salespeople.
I think that I don't think it's icky. I think it's what you were alluding to earlier is it's a vulnerable moment because now as the salesperson, you're possibly going to hear no, you know? And if you say no, then you say, okay, well, tell me how I can be of assistance. Do you need to go home and think about it? You call me tomorrow. You come back with your wife. What will help? I mean, what's icky is if you, lose your patience or hit them over the head or lie to get a sale. That's what's icky. Yeah. But just being a good sales. When I go to buy a big screen TV or something for my house, I hope I have a good salesman. I want someone to talk because my brain's going, oh man, I should take that money and do something, whatever. But I want someone to help me wrap my brain around buying something that I emotionally really want, you know?
Yeah, to see that passion flowing through and they're actually excited to sell something to you, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm down. You know, that's way better.
Yeah, and all you're doing when you're listening is if you wanted to do it textbook style, it'd be like you're finding pain points and then figuring out solutions, but not trying to solve right away, right? You probably come back to that after building a rapport because then you're not going to build credibility for him to listen to him or her to listen for any answers.
Him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, the best story I have with that is one time I was in a little bit of a slump. I struck out quite a few customers in a row. And I tried to come up with a plan where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to just have fun. So I go, next customer I get, I'm going to try to not talk about buying a car for as long as possible. So there's a customer slowly driving through the lot in a minivan, and it was a woman with her kids in the car. And they're just kind of like very shy with the window barely. And so I walk up to their car and they're like really reluctant. And she rolls the window down to right here. And I go, how's it going? And she's like, we're good. And I go, what you guys up to? And she's like, oh, we're just looking to see if you guys have a specific car. And I go, well, we got a lot of cars. I go, but it's a good day to enjoy this weather. And I just started, every time she tried to talk about the car, I tried to talk about something different, right? So I think that disarmed her, her shield that was up. And so they get out and they're looking for a specific car. And she's like, well, we found a PT Cruiser down the street and we're about to buy it. But we just decided to drive over to see if you maybe had one. So we're just looking for a pre-owned PT Cruiser. And I go, well, I looked in the inventory and I go, we don't have one here, but I have one at our other dealership. I'll go get it and drive it back here. But you guys need to promise me that you come back in like an hour to actually look at it because I'm going to be wasting my time driving up there and bringing it here if you don't. She's like, I promise. I won't buy the other one until I see yours. She goes, the only thing is it can't be red. Of course, ours was red. Right? So, but it was listed as like an off red or something. So I go, maybe they'll like it if they see it. So whatever. I drive up, I get it, I bring it down. Already planted to see it. I go, hey, it's not red, it's lipstick. Is what I said. And so they show up and we'd built such a rapport. Like they really wanted to buy the car from me and not the other guy down the street. So when they showed up and they saw that it was a shade of red, they talked themselves out. They go, this really isn't red. It's more lipstick right there.
There
I
you
go. That's what I'm saying,
Guilt
and
buy.
So they bought the car. And I got in the car with them and drove it over to their grandma's house down by Coconut Grove, and the whole neighborhood came out. I stayed for dinner and all that stuff. And,
what?
And
wait, what?
That family
car salesman procedure.
Let me tell you, that family, I sold them at least 3 or 4 more cars. They were like really close friends with me after that. And it was all just because that one day that I went out and I played that little game with my head just to get myself out of the funk where I was like, I'm not going to talk about selling a car. I'm going to go out and just connect with someone as a human being, and it totally worked. And I'm still friends with them to this day.
What?
Every time we go back to Miami, I stop by. We go PT
Okay.
That's awesome.
All right. Yeah, you're a good salesman.
Well,
it's just like anything. It's comedy. It's barbecue. It's car sales. It's not about the product or the salesmanship. It's about the people. And when you have passion about something or when you're trying to connect with people on a personal level, that's what's more important than the actual thing, These barbecue restaurants, I see it so often, man. They are successful because they care about the food. It's not a diner where they're just pumping out, greasy burgers, or a chicken place that's just got a cool logo. It's if you're gonna choose barbecue as the genre and you're gonna be successful at it, it's because you give a shit. Because barbecue is a high degree of difficulty to pull off. So anyone that's willing to go in the middle of the night to start their food and cook all night long, and it's a genre. It's very hard to estimate food inventory and to get the right kind of smokers and the right kind of wood. And it's just, these guys are tired, man. And they go day in, day out.
It's laborious.
They're proud of their place.
And
it's what makes barbecue restaurants so interesting to me.
Well, what's it called? We got to ask you one question before we get off here. And we ask everybody that comes on the podcast for the first time this question. I'll put you in a long line of Auburn geniuses: Tim Cook, Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas,
who have not
Charles
answered
Barkley,
this question and have
Dave,
nothing to do
Dave
with
Williamson.
any of this, but
I like it.
What advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Ooh, I like that.
Nice.
I would tell myself, I was always, and I still am, all about having fun and having experiences. But I would tell myself to pay attention a little bit more in situations that better myself, such as I spent years in Spanish class between high school and college, and I cannot speak a lick of Spanish today, right? I wasted all that time, I as a young kid, I could have, played the guitar and stuck with that. And, there's just so many things that I wish I had seen through that I didn't. So I maybe would tell myself to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, follow through to the end. Yeah.
Might be my favorite answer, Dave.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Should have paid attention in Spanish class.
Now, I will tell you this. When I was in Spanish class in Miami in high school, I was the worst. I was the biggest gringo, as Law already alluded to earlier. So I'd be in Spanish class in Miami like, de gracias un amigo, and they'd be like, oh my God, it's barely squeaking through with D's. And then I went to Auburn and I was in Spanish too, since I'd already taken a thing. And I'm like, gracias un amigo. And they're like, this kid's a whiz kid.
Wow.
He's a savant.
Yeah.
He speaks perfect Spanish.
Take him to the biblioteca. Yeah. Well, right on, man. I appreciate you coming on, War Eagle, and thanks, man. I love it. Yeah. Oh, I'm tickled pink you wore that for this interview, man. I appreciate it, and we'll be cheering you on from afar.
Thanks, man. If anyone wants to come out to one of these barbecue shows, like Law said, man, there's one left in Denver. I'm stopping by the Boulder Comedy Festival for a few days, but that's not my barbecue show. It's just going to be regular sets. But the comedy barbecue shows are in Denver, Eagle, Colorado, Grand Junction, Colorado, and then Phoenix at Little Miss Barbecue, which is an awesome spot, over to Bakersfield at Salty's Barbecue. And then I'm coming home to LA. And if you want to buy my all-purpose rub, you can do it at davewilliamson.com.
And LA show, before I forget, Nick Hoff does that freeway comedy show on Saturday nights. So you might be able to.
I've done it, man. It's awesome. He does a great job with it.
That might be a good one to do. For you.
Not a bad idea.
All right, buddy.
Not a bad idea.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Love you guys.
Love you.